All right. Trading recap. Today is, what is it, September 4th? September 4th, 2025, Thursday? September 4th, 2025, Thursday. We have the charts pull up here, but this is, I went on replay mode to show you guys. Excuse me. This is 9:25 on the 5 minute, right before market opens. I'm going to walk you through everything that I saw today. My draws. Damn, I have something in my throat. My draws, my trade that I took, probably the most important thing is what I call a trade recap. And then we're gonna go from there. All right. So wait, I'm gonna let's see if I can do something else. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna move this back to 4, just so I can go on the 4 hour and not, you know, give away exactly what we're looking at here. So this would be okay, we can skip one more. All right. So this is what we're looking at. From what I remember, yeah, so this is one of the highs I marked out right here. One of the highs I marked out here. Main reason for this is I see no reason for market to go lower before we sweep liquidity and get some sort of momentum from a 4 hour gap above us. So this is kind of the most obvious place the market would want to go today. So that was one of the only draws I'm looking for. Shorts was also not a terrible draw. I think we had a 1 hour below us, but for the most part, like the 1 hour does not look great. This is rough. There's no real direction. Honestly, another thing I want to show you guys. I go on the line chart when I want to know where market's going. Obviously you get in your head when you're looking at candles a lot. The easiest way to do it is just zoom out and then go to this line chart here, and it shows you, roughly where market wants to go. Now, this is like when people see charts, it's always like in a line form almost. And when I draw them out for you guys, it's the same exact idea. Is I draw the path, right? Right. That's what you want for a bullish market if you're looking for longs, and a bearish market if you're looking for shorts, right? So this damn my throat. This gives you a better idea of what you're looking for and what price wants to do and what the market wants to do. This is on the 4 hour, just in case. Again, obviously, we're fairly bullish, at least in this sort of run on the 4 hour. If you really zoom out and you look at it from a daily time frame, maybe not so much, and that's kind of where you start questioning things. But again, we're trading for an hour and a half in a day. So we should not be looking at the daily time frame. That doesn't really mean much to us. Even the 4 hour doesn't really mean much to us, but it's good to find some sort of draws in the 4 hour, like the gaps that we found. Like the gaps that we found. So this gap up here, and specifically this high right before we get introduced to the gap again, is our best draw for the day. What Pam? 1902. Okay, no, that's current time. All right, yeah. And then we're gonna move into the 1 hour time frame. And again, we saw these lows over here. And kind of low resistance lows at that, but not the best draws. You know what I mean? So not the most fantastic draws. Again, in an hour and 4 hour time frame, we're still a bit bullish, and we obviously want to take this 4 hour gap out. Okay, go to the 5 minute. What candle is this? 9:55? No, you're lying. Wow. Okay, so I just gave away half the market already. That's fine. Not even. This is the first 30 minutes of open. You're already seeing it. So what we do, market opens up, and obviously, like I don't know if I ever said this before in a video, but I always look at the 5 minute to try to look for a good entry. And that's mostly because you're gonna get caught up in the 1 minute and do stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna see this type of timeline. Obviously, this is pre-market, so it doesn't look that good. But you're gonna see, 1 minute right now. You're gonna see this type of stuff and get caught up on looking for longs or shorts, and then you're gonna get blown away, right? So 5 minute time frame gives you a clearer view of where price actually wants to go on the day, and not just within the next 5 minutes. The time frames are all respectful or respected to a specific time. This is really stupid. I'm trying to explain. People don't get this idea, but if you're sitting on the 1 minute and you're executing for a 4 hour bias, it doesn't make any sense, right? Most likely you're gonna have to go through 100+ candles to get to that 4 hour bias, right? So you get the 4 hour bias, then you get the 1 hour, and you kind of zoom down and see if the 5 minute or 1 minute, I mean, 1 minute's again a bit more specific, but if the 5 minute aligns with said bias, at which point you can zoom in even further and then find your actual execution. So at first, what I'm looking for is the 5 minute to go where I want it to go. Now, what do we have? Market opens actually this candle, and we kind of just launched straight to where I wanted price to go, to my draw, and that would have been unfortunate if we hit it, but hooray for us, we didn't, and we instead flip. Now this is ugly. This is stuff that we don't want to see. This kind of wiki movement, wiki price action, from 9:35 to 10. Also, I'm pretty sure we had news at 10 a.m. PMI. I don't think it affected the market too much, but you can kind of see there's a bit of anticipation for what's going to happen, and that's why there's a bit of a struggle as to where price wants to go in the direction of price. Anywho, yeah, moving forward from there, we can kind of skip through these 5-minute candles. All right, so there you go. We take out these lows here. Again, I wasn't looking for shorts, and there really wasn't much of an opportunity in this 5-minute time frame. Also, another thing I want to note, I might have said this right. I'm just going to say it again if I have. When you're executing and the time frame looks shitty, you have to move up. You don't sit on the 1 minute when the 1 minute looks like how this looks like, right? Or the 5-minute when the 5-minute looks like this. There's nowhere to take a trade here. Like, where would you even execute? Right? That doesn't make any sense. If you go to the 1 minute, it looks a bit cleaner, but again, there's not much to execute here, right? You have overall a bearish movement, but if you look at this, like the move up here is stronger than these 16, 10, whatever it is, candles that just barely made it on the way down. So what does that tell us? There's still bullish sentiment in the market, and there's still a reason for us to want to go long here. We're still struggling to take these lows. And you're going to see that within the next few candles. We skip to the next 5-minute candle, right? You get a bit of a flip here. And here, just kidding. And here, just kidding again. Oh, I forgot there was a bit of a struggle here. There you go. All right. So, like I said, struggle to close past these lows, which is what you kind of want to see when you're going for a bearish movement. So if we want to take out some lows down here, which also I would not recommend, there's a fat 1 hour gap here. So if we were to move, I don't really know where the gap starts. And I want to go to the 1 hour and give away this price action here. That's the only problem with replay on TradingView is when you go to an hourly time frame when you're halfway through an hour. So like here we're at 10:25. It's going to show us the candle from 10 to 11. So we're going to give away the next 30 minutes price action. So we're not going to do that. But for your own sake, there was an hour here, an hourly gap. We did tap it on this movement. Not only that, we swept these lows, failed to print above them or print past them, and then printed this massive candle here. Now, at this time, I was texting my mentor and talking to him about some stuff, and I turned over my computer, and this candle was printing. There was 10 seconds left to print it. Now, I usually take a little bit more time to scope my trades out, to pick that out. Not only that, but I don't usually trade on just one 5-minute candle print. Now, that's what I'm translating into, or like what I'm moving towards doing. So I look for a lot more confluences when I look at my trades, but now I'm not finding many trades, and it's a little infuriating. So what I'm going to do is do my due diligence, do my research, do my back testing. Either back testing or forward testing in markets, and see if I can identify the draw, and if there's just one strong candle close and I could take that, what percent of the chance or what percent of the time am I, getting a banger, or am I just hitting that trade in general? Obviously, it's a lower win rate than what you would do if you had 3 or 4 confluences, but then again, you're also getting less trades. So that's kind of the trade-off you get. So here I'm, in my head, fighting for whether I should look for a better trade here, especially because we just displaced me. I have so much more to move towards. Obviously we could get this type of movement upwards, and it looks great, and you could easily just target these highs here and take this trade on this one candle. But you could also expect to have some sort of movement up and a retracement, right? Not to mention that there is nothing stopping us from moving higher. This is all just emptiness, nothing. There's no draws here. The draws up here, right? So we're just gonna supposedly blast through all of this, right? So there's different ways of looking at it. It's all, at the end of the day, statistics, right? You could try to plan out and guess what's going to happen. Like I've seen it happen where this candle would print and the next one would absolutely bang. I mean, obviously not on a day like this because we already, moved a decent amount before. So there's a little less volume in the market at this point. It's at 10:20. But the idea is you can't predict the market, but what you can do is react to it moving, which is why I kind of wait for more confluences and more confirmations of where the market wants to go. But like I said, I'm backtesting. Just taking more candle closes with obvious draws. Oh, hit the wrong thing. And this would have been a fantastic execution. So if you watch this here, target either this high or this high up here, and then stops either down here, or which are more protected, or at this level, at this candle, the body of the candle here. Regardless, the R really doesn't matter. So you want to kind of protect yourself. And this is a massive trade as it is. 311 takes the take profit, and almost 200 takes to your stop loss. Again, still green, still 1.6 risk to reward. Still a fantastic trade to take, right? And we're going to look back to that later on, but now we're going to look at the trade that I took, right? So again, scouting the 5-minute out, watching where it goes, have a little bit of a fake out here, and then we bang, right? We just keep on moving upwards. It's looking great, right? Here we go into a 5-minute gap. Is it the best? Absolutely not. This is actually kind of atrocious now that I'm looking at it. But that was one of the confluences I took in today's trade. Now, again, what I mentioned before, at this point, these are all 5-minute candles. So we are now at 10:40 in the market, 10:45 of this one closed, right? So we're losing a bit of volume. It's becoming a little less likely that we're going to absolutely, rail these highs, and instead we're going to kind of slow down and maybe range. Um, that's always something you have to keep in the back of your mind is earlier in the market, you're going to have a lot more volume, a higher chance of taking out these draws. Later on, especially when you have all this kind of movement, and this was like pretty decent sized moves, right? We did like 400 ticks, 300 ticks up this way, 500 ticks down this way. Now we're making our way back up. Also not to mention this execution before is also an inverse. So we have a BPR here, 5 minute, and the 5 minute gap that formed, and also the closure here. So this was an inverse. So we would have been taking a trade on a 5 minute inverse as well as a displacement candle towards withdrawal liquidity. Great execution. Honestly, I really wish I would have taken this. I didn't take it, and it's going to lead to the trade that I did take. So again, 5 minute gap here. We're displacing upwards. We have a draw on liquidity. We tap into said 5 minute gap, and this is like the perfect setup for me. This is what I look for, right? Displacement, you have an obvious direction, you have an obvious continuation of price towards a certain level at which we call drawn liquidity, and what we're looking for is to hit that on our TP. 5 minute here, we tap into the 5 minute. Now, the last thing we're looking for is a reaction, a displacement off of this this 5 minute gap to enter on, right? So that's what I'm sitting here waiting for on the 1 minute. Bam, what do we get? Yikes, doesn't look good. Next one, what do we get? Okay, not that bad, right? We have this, again, also a bearish gap here. And what would be fantastic was if one of these candles was to close as an inverse. So if one of these candles closed up high and didn't look like whatever this is, like a struggle, instant longs to these highs here, break even at this level, would have been a fantastic trade. What we didn't do is that. What we did do instead is kind of struggle to close above this 1 minute gap. Again, still struggling. And then finally, we do so, right? This execution was mostly made out of one, me being, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it's FOMO in both ways, right? FOMO and the fact that I missed my first 5 minute trade here, the 5 minute execution, which would have been fantastic. Again, as you could see, playing out swimmingly, right? This high stops down below. We're already flying past it, right? We already would have been BE at this point. That and the fact that I'm watching so many people take trades online. Like, this is the big thing about social media. And here I am posting videos, and the trade-off of it is because for the longest time I would delete my Instagram, delete my TikTok, delete all these socials, and then go on here and I'll stay focused, right? I'd clear my mind. Psychology was good. And now that I'm posting videos, I'm also on social media at the same time, and I see the same people hitting crazy TPs, bottom blasting, and launching for 5RR. And people trading throughout these days that usually aren't good, but they're still hitting on these days. And I'm like, damn, where are my trades? Why am I not making money? I know how to trade. What's going on? Why am I struggling here? So this was kind of a mix of like, man, I missed out on the 5 minute execution, and man, everyone else is making money. So I really want to. And that's one of the bigger problems in psychology is you got to kind of take a step back and see, statistically speaking, does this trade play? Not emotionally speaking, do I want it to play, right? Because your feelings don't matter in the market at this point. Nobody cares about your feelings. Market doesn't care. The market's gonna move wherever it wants to go, whether you're in it or not. So basically, don't be stupid and don't take a dumb trade. And here I am taking not a stupid trade, just slightly dumb. You know what I mean? I'm kind of trying to save myself here. It was pretty stupid, if we're being very honest. But yeah, so this was the trade I took. Stops right below here and take profit up here. Now you're going to see the absolute pain that I went through as these candles printed. Again, I also want to say this one more time. It is now 10:49, this execution. Very late in the day where it's going to die out. The volume is slowly starting to die. You can even see here some of these candles are kind of dying out. Again, still good displacement towards our draw, but you could almost expect within the next 10 minutes it's going to die out, and you're not going to move 150 ticks to your TP. So let's click through it. Let's see how much I suffered. First candle, we're looking great, right? Break even is going to be right here, which again, not usually what you want. That's a 0.4. That's not even bad. Usually you want to look for a 0.5 RR as your break even. That isn't even that terrible, so I'm not mad about that. But again, I also want to secure my break even a lot quicker. Because of the time of this market, right? So we were already late in the market, like I said before. I'm going to repeat myself at this point, but you kind of gauge based on how volume is playing out, how the market's playing out, is whether you should go to BE earlier, not even put a BE out if you're very volatile, and there's a high chance you're just going to get wicked out and it's going to continue in one direction. So this is all stuff you kind of learn discretionally as you trade and as you look at the markets. So here I am in this trade, and it's looking pretty decent, and then absolute bomb. Oh my God, my heart dropped. I was like, yikes. At this point, on my knees praying, God, just bring me back to break even. Obviously, that's a joke, but I'm still fairly confident in this entry, even though it wasn't the best. I'd say it's probably like a B entry, if that. No, yeah, I'll give myself some sort of props. It is a good setup for the most part. It's just the timing of the market and the fact that we're kind of dying out here wasn't the best. Um, so yeah, we kind of bomb here, and then we're a little we're kind of struggling here, still kind of struggling, still struggling. Like, this still doesn't look great. This looks even worse, right? At this point, I'm like, shit, might as well just split my positions, which I didn't. I held out, like one would. Still confident in the fact that this 5 minute might be able to save us, or this low over here might be able to save us. Because even though this looks bad, right, we didn't make a higher high. We failed to make a higher high. And now it looks like we're just making lower lows, or sorry, lower highs here on the way down. And also lower lows here. We just broke this low. We still have the 5 minute here and this level here. So I'm saying, you know what? Hold your horses, buddy. You might be good. And then we got another reaction backwards, right? This is the reason why you stop trading at this point, because this is what you get. There's no clear direction anymore. This looks like it's just going to be a range between this 5 minute and this high over here. And it looks like it's just going to chop in this direction, right? Which is something we don't want to trade as continuation traders. We want big moves up, not moves sideways. Any trader, honestly. I don't know how people can ever even trade through a kangaroo market. You need a bull or a bear. So here we go. We have another 1 minute fair value gap here. So again, not a great confluence for me. This is kind of against my trade. This might react negatively off of it. And it did again, reacted off of it, started taking the lows again. What do we get? Big boy flip, made it an inverse. Great. Wow, we're back in the game. I'm going to click through these candles a little bit. This is looking fantastic. This is looking great, right? This is exactly what you want. Somehow pull this shit to the fire, and we're looking good. At this point, I'm looking at setting a break even. I haven't set the break even yet. I think this next candle is where I did it. Nope. This next candle is where I did it. We have 4 wick outs on this high. Normally, if you want a continuation trend, you want us to print confidently over the previous highs. And this is the exact opposite of what I saw. This is just weak. This is like rejecting these highs and looks like we're in a range still, even though, I'm in profit at this point, 40 ticks or so in profit. So at this point, close to break even. So what happens, like whatever happens, happens. I also, at this point, have to get ready for school. So I set this up, what is it? My alerts here. Usually on live market, you can set alerts here. You can't, but I set my alerts at my break even at this level up here, because I was just curious whether we would run there or not. And also my TP, obviously. And my stop loss too. I wanted to know if my stop loss, got ran through after I hit break even. But basically, here is me securing myself. You've went through enough. You stressed enough a lot here. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Just step away, walk away, and just let the market do its thing. And so we did. And so we did. What is that? It looks fantastic, right? And then here's where I get B, I think right here. Oh no, okay. This took me out. Oh, that's crazy. Wow. See, I also, when I did set my orders today, obviously when you're executing on market orders, it's not going to be perfectly on candle closes. But regardless, this gets ran anyway. But that almost didn't take me out of break even. But yeah, so we're gonna see in a second here. We get absolutely red like a truck. Wabam. And this is why I set to break even. Also, want to mention another thing. I'm going to set this back down to where it was before, this low. If I didn't set my break evens, this trade would have hit. Obviously, I would not want to be in this though. This is like, a trader's worst nightmare. This is, high level anxiety here. In drawdown for a lot of this trade, then you're back up, then you chop while you're up, and then you go straight back to drawdown in one candle. This is a heart attack. I wouldn't want to be in this even if it did play. But yeah, this is rough. This is, at this point, I wasn't looking at my computer. But yeah, so here's the part where we flip again off this 5 minute. Again, we kept respecting this 5 minute here. We flip off this 5 minute, miss my originally set stop loss by 4 ticks, and the trade banged. The trade banged. Am I mad? Not at all. Am I mad that I even took that trade? Maybe a little bit. There should have been better opportunities. There were better opportunities for me to trade, and I missed those opportunities, and I kind of FOMO'd into it. So again, just a learning lesson to, step away when you know you're going to get in your own head. I mean, this is, honestly, if I was in the market before, this might have been an even better trade here. Enter off this candle. Nice inverse off this displacement. Again, it's really late in the day, so it's kind of tough to say, but, and also, it wasn't, yeah, that plays. It played. Obviously it played, but I'm not a big inverse trader as it is, but yeah, tap the 5 minute, displace, close the inverse, um, stops right here. Sorry, break even right here, which is already a really good break even level, and then 1.7 RR. Anyway, yeah, so that's basically how it played out today. I got break even, didn't make anything, didn't lose anything. Honestly, should have lost something. This was rather sketchy. And like I promised before, we're gonna go back and show you how that 5 minute close will look like. Long position right here, and it's just, I mean, obviously, if you're sitting here, every 5 minute candle is kind of torture. They're very slow, especially some of these. But this played really well. Again, really big stop, but when you're playing 5 minute candles, you don't want to play a one candle stop. And look at that, absolutely gorgeous. Eh, I mean, listen, it could have been better, but it played. It played well. No drawdown, except for like the beginning of this 5 minute candle. It kind of just launched straight into problem. So that would have been obviously the better trade. Didn't take that. FOMOed into my trades. I have to thank my lucky stars that I got break even and got to walk away the day with, without my pockets being robbed. But yeah, that's kind of the whole trade recap. I think actually the market just kept flying from here. I can always go on a 15 time. But yeah, I think we're still in an uptrend here, which is fantastic. Which is good for tomorrow. I'm gonna get a replay now. It's good for tomorrow because we have some of these 4 hour highs here that we're looking to take, which should be pretty nice. Obviously, Fridays are not the best, but if we can close above this gap, maybe this one here, that high could be possible. Honestly, it probably will it'll probably get taken on London session. Then we have other liquidity up here. Anyway, I'm just yapping for no reason at this point. That's the whole recap. That's everything. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all later.